before humanity touched the roof of the world. Before science fully understood life in thin air and extreme cold. There already existed a land where every breath was a test of survival. Among Everest's towering cliffs, eternal snow, and ferocious winds, creatures must adapt to altitude, hunger, and freezing cold, in a nature that never shows mercy. Welcome to Extreme Everest, survival on the highest peak on the planet. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to motivate us to keep creating more quality content. Don't forget to comment below with your thoughts on the video and tell us where you're watching from so we can discuss it together. Let's begin. Standing at 8,848.86 meters, Mount Everest is the highest point on the planet. If its base sat at sea level, it would be so high that commercial airplanes would have to alter their routes to avoid its peak. But Everest does not stand alone. It is part of something far grander, a wall of rock and ice known as the Himalayas, the backbone of the roof of the world. Its slopes form a frontier between different worlds, where green, fertile valleys give way to deserts of snow and unpredictable storms. Everest sits on the edge of two worlds. To the south, Nepal, a land of climbers, legends, and spirituality. To the north, Tibet, a mystical region molded by wind and snow. The Tibetans call this mountain Chomolungma, the Holy Mother of the world. The Nepalese call it Sagarmatha, the forehead of the sky. Both names describe something that figures could never fully express: the sacred and untamable aura of this mountain. Everest was not always there. About 50 million years ago, the Indian and Eurasian continental plates collided. The impact was so powerful that the Earth's crust began to fold and rise slowly. Thus, the Himalayas were born, and Everest began its long ascent toward the heavens. Even today, the mountain continues to rise slowly, a few millimeters each year. Erosion, earthquakes, and ice continue to reshape its form as time passes. Life should not be able to exist here. The air is too thin, and the cold cuts the skin like blades. In winter, temperatures can drop to minus 60 degrees Celsius, and winds can exceed 200 kilometers per hour. On Everest, even breathing is a battle. But the mountain is not empty. In the surrounding valleys, yaks have traveled these routes for centuries. In the skies above Everest, more than just choughs and eagles fly over impossible abysses. The bearded vulture and the Himalayan vulture also survive in silence. The red-billed chough, the yellow-billed chough, the snow pigeon, and the Tibetan snowcock endure amidst the freezing wind. In the lower reaches, the Himalayan monal shines like a living rainbow. In the distance, among the glaciers, the whisper of the legends of those who came before still resonates. Some say Everest is the end of the world. Others believe it is the starting point for something much greater. As the terrain of Everest reveals the beauty of a world torn by altitude, ice, and dizzying cliffs, life begins to show one of its most mysterious faces. On the rocky slopes, where the rugged terrain rises toward the clouds and snow covers every crevice, a pale presence blends silently with the grey stone and frozen white. It is the snow leopard, known as the ghost of the roof of the world, in a space where absolute silence seems to cover everything. This great cat appears without a sound, majestic to the point of wonder and, at the same time, haunting in the authority it projects. It is as if the Creator designed this creature specifically to reign in a world of extreme cold, impossible walls, and relentless harshness. With an extraordinarily dense coat of smoky grey tones mixed with cream and yellowish hues, marked by dark rosettes, the snow leopard can vanish almost completely between rock and ice. This natural layer allows it to endure extremely severe sub-zero temperatures. Its rounded head, with small ears that reduce heat loss, and its clear, piercing eyes observe the valleys with the frozen gaze of an apex predator. In broken terrain where most animals would hesitate to tread, the snow leopard moves with astonishing agility. Its muscular legs, its large feet that act as natural snowshoes, and its tail, nearly a meter long, allow it to maintain perfect balance on the edge of the abyss. When night falls and the cold becomes unbearable, that same tail transforms into a warm scarf, wrapping around its body to conserve the little heat available amidst the mountain winds. Because resources are extremely scarce, each snow leopard usually dominates immense territories of dozens of square kilometers. Within its kingdom, it searches for blue sheep, tars, musk deer, and even small rodents. On Everest, every successful hunt is a feat, because failure can mean several days and nights of hunger. The snow leopard's strategy is not based on pure speed, but on extreme patience. It can remain motionless for hours in the snow, watching and waiting for the moment its prey makes the slightest mistake. When the time comes, it launches with explosive power and concludes the hunt with a lethal bite to the neck. Its true strength lies not in noisy chases, but in silence and the ability to kill with precision in just an instant. When it manages to bring down large prey, the snow leopard knows how to use it carefully. It does not devour it completely at once. It usually drags the carcass to a protected crevice among the rocks to feed for several days. However, the scent of fresh blood in the freezing air can attract opportunists like the Himalayan wolf. Against a lone wolf, the leopard can prevail. But against the collective strength of a pack, the mountain ghost usually retreats in silence, watching from a distance as the fruit of its effort is taken away. Besides enemies of other species, the snow leopard must also face competition from its own kind. As a solitary animal, it marks its territory with urine and scratches on the rock as firm warnings to any intruder. But in a world where living space is one of the most valuable resources, bloody confrontations between two snow leopards can occur, turning cliffs into combat arenas of fangs and claws. The snow leopard does not dominate Everest with roars that echo through the mountains. It affirms its power through invisibility. A footprint on fresh snow, a scratch on an ancient rock, or a cold gaze from the heights is enough to remind us that in the realm of ice and wind, there is a ghost that continues to rule in silence. It is the embodiment of absolute adaptation, a hunter molded by the harshness of Everest, silent, resilient, and almost immortal in legend. Under the shadow of Everest, above 8,000 meters, lies a realm almost devoid of life, where large organisms can barely endure. However, descending just a few thousand meters reveals a vibrant stage for survival. On the arid slopes, among rocky valleys and high-altitude forests, life resurges in silence with extraordinary resilience. Blue sheep nimbly cross rock crevices. Himalayan tars cling to near impossible slopes, while pikas, deer, and herds of yaks advance slowly through the freezing wind, searching for every scarce fragment of food. But in nature, wherever there is life, the dominators also appear. In the midst of this implacable landscape, the Himalayan wolf emerges as one of the most fearsome ghosts of the mountains. A long howl tears through the valley, bouncing off vertical rock walls and instantly receiving a response from other pack members. It is not just a call, it is a declaration of territory, a reminder that in these lands, the price of life is constant vigilance. With an average weight between 40 and 45 kilograms, a powerful jaw, and legs built for endurance, the Himalayan wolf seems designed for adversity. It inhabits plateaus where oxygen is extremely scarce, often above 4,000 meters. For thousands of years, its genetic code has been molded to take advantage of every available oxygen molecule, allowing it to maintain intense activity at heights where most mammals would give up. To resist the harshness of Everest, the Creator granted it a wool-like dense coat, covering an inner layer capable of conserving heat with extraordinary efficiency. Its elongated snout, upright ears protected by thick fur, and padded paws allow it to move lightly over soft snow, frozen gravel, and broken terrain. On nights when the temperature drops below zero, this natural armor conserves body heat and protects it from mountain gales. But its most powerful weapon is not individual strength, but collective strategy. Its sharp sense of smell allows it to detect prey from great distances, while its sight and hearing catch the subtlest movements in the rugged terrain. When an isolated or weakened animal appears, the entire pack shifts from silent patience to a deadly pursuit. On Everest, every hunt is a life or death gamble. Energy is the most valuable resource, and a single mistake can condemn the group to days of hunger. This is why Himalayan wolves choose their targets with precision. Blue sheep, tars, and even yak calves. They do not need unnecessary displays of force. Patience, mastery of the terrain, and exact coordination are the keys that turn the harshness of the landscape into an advantage. After a suffocating chase, when the victim is exhausted in the thin air, the pack brings the hunt to a swift end. Afterward, the feast unfolds under a strict order. The leaders eat first, and only then do the other group members approach. This firm social structure is what allows them to maintain the collective strength needed to survive endless winters. The Himalayan wolf may not be the largest, nor as mysterious as the snow leopard, but it embodies the strength of unity. Amidst wind, snow, and hunger, it survives, thanks to the resilience of a lineage perfectly adapted to high altitudes. In this world of rock and ice, it reminds us that to survive on Everest, the greatest strength is not always in the fangs of an individual, but in a pack capable of moving together, waiting together, and fighting together for survival. In the implacable mountains surrounding Everest, where gales relentlessly strike the rocks and snow covers the landscape 12 months a year, there is a creature that moves with a steady step. It is the yak, the long-haired giant of the Himalayas, one of the ungulates best adapted to the brutality of the high mountains. It is associated with cattle because it belongs to the Bovidae family and the genus Bos, with a close kinship to domestic cows and other large bovines. The name yak comes from Tibetan and originally referred only to the male. However, as it spread across the world, it became the common name for the entire species. With a colossal body that can weigh near a ton, a long coat that falls like an ancient mantle, a powerful muscular hump over the shoulders, and imposing curved horns, the yak is a presence impossible to mistake. Where most creatures would only find ice, wind, and suffering, the yak has found a perfect home. Its double-layered coat extremely dense, along with the fat accumulated under the skin, acts as a shield against the biting cold of winter. Even when the temperature drops to -40 degrees Celsius in the roar of snowstorms, this animal stands firm like a living monument. In the grand work that the Creator placed on the roof of the world, the yak exists to prove that life can still resist where it seemed impossible. But to keep this massive biological machine running, the yak must spend much of its day feeding. Its sustenance comes from high mountain pastures, mosses, lichens, and nutrient-poor small shrubs. Since this food contains little energy, the yak moves slowly through the high meadows, lowering its head again and again in search of the smallest shoots. Even when the ground is buried under a thick layer of snow, it does not give up. Thanks to its sensitive smell and resilient hooves, it digs patiently to reach the remains of vegetation hidden under the ice. As a ruminant, it takes full advantage of every plant fragment, digesting it several times so that no nutrient is wasted in this land of scarcity. While it can get some moisture from its food, the yak also seeks out small streams or damp areas to drink. When extreme cold dominates the landscape, it uses large rocks as shelter against the force of the wind. In contrast, during the rare moments when the temperature rises, it may wallow in water to cool off. It is a testament to the adaptive flexibility of an animal born for snow and ice. Due to its enormous food needs, grazing areas are quickly exhausted, forcing the herd to constantly move to new slopes. Therefore, group life becomes an essential survival strategy. Despite its massive and somewhat intimidating appearance, the yak is a deeply social animal. Females and their young can gather in groups of hundreds, creating an impressive scene in the middle of the cold, open valleys. Males, on the other hand, usually lead more solitary lives. Outside the breeding season, they often form small groups of bachelors. But when the time comes to perpetuate the species, that calm is broken. The strongest giants begin to compete intensely for dominance. Then, size and strength become the only language that decides the outcome. Confrontations occur with bone-shaking headbutts and horn strikes charged with tension. Although these battles rarely end in death, they are violent enough to determine which male will pass on his lineage to the next generation. In the realm of rock and ice, the yak is not simply a mountain animal. It is an eternal symbol of resilience, community life, and extraordinary adaptation. As the yaks move slowly across the frozen slopes, resisting the cold with the silent strength of mountain giants, another form of survival appears in the lower altitude forests, much more delicate but just as extraordinary. There, where snow still embraces the slopes, while rhododendrons and alpine vegetation cling tenaciously to the grey rock, a dazzling creature emerges. It is the Himalayan monal, one of the most beautiful birds to ever walk beneath the shadow of the imposing Everest. If the high summits above belong to the realm of white, grey and cold tones of blue, the Himalayan monal appears as a brushstroke of near supernatural colour that the Creator placed in the heart of this implacable land. The male possesses a metallic plumage of unreal beauty, capable of changing hue depending on the angle of the light: emerald green, deep blue, amethyst violet, reddish copper, and fiery orange mix like a living flame lit upon the snow. On its head, a small crest stands proudly. But this dazzling beauty does not exist just to impress. During the breeding season, the male's plumage becomes a true language of survival, a powerful message that attracts the female and demonstrates his vigor. In a place where winter can stifle almost all forms of life, only individuals with an exceptional genetic heritage can maintain such intense splendor. The Himalayan monal spends much of its life tied to the ground. Instead of gliding over abysses like vultures, it prefers to dig silently among damp leaves, hardened earth, and thin layers of snow. With its robust beak, acting almost like a specialized tool, it searches for roots, tubers, seeds, and insects hidden below the surface. Every movement of the earth is a small battle for life. When it senses danger, the monal can quickly hide in thickets or rock crevices. The surprising thing is that, although its plumage seems extremely eye-catching in the gloom of the mountain forests, those colors blend in an unexpected way. It is camouflaged with green moss, rugged trunks, and fragmented rays of light piercing the canopy. The female, with her more discreet plumage of brown and grey tones, is a true master of camouflage. In the ecosystem surrounding Everest, the Himalayan monal reminds us that life is not defined solely by fangs, claws, or muscular force. Sometimes survival also manifests in the beauty of color and persistent steps beneath the ancient forest. In a world usually associated with ice, abysses, and death, the monal reveals another face of Everest, softer, brighter, but just as resilient. And as that glowing silhouette slowly vanishes behind the mist of the cold forest, further down, among narrow crevices and frost-covered rocks, another much smaller creature continues its own battle. It has no bright colors or majestic presence, but its resilience is just as admirable. It is the pika, a tiny survivor proving that, on Everest, greatness can also be hidden in the smallest of bodies. while the Himalayan monal displays its shimmering dance of colours in the middle of the frozen world, deep in the crevices of sharp rocks, another much humbler creature silently writes its own epic of bravery. Without dazzling plumage or proud wings, the pika survives thanks to its speed, extreme vigilance, and extraordinary resilience against the absolute harshness of the Himalayas. Weighing barely 150 grams and with a body length no more than 20 centimeters, these small mammals represent another miracle of adaptation in the dangerous heights surrounding Everest. By choosing rock fields near the timberline as its refuge, the pika does not just try to survive day after day. It manages to thrive in a climate capable of defeating creatures many times its size. Like the giant yak. This small creature of the order Lagomorpha possesses an extremely dense coat. It works as a perfect insulating layer even when Everest shows its most hostile face. To minimize heat loss, the creator granted it small, rounded ears, rather than the characteristic long ears of many of its relatives. Its short but surprisingly strong legs, with excellent grip on rocky terrain, become perfect tools for surviving in the extreme cold. This master of adaptation usually hides in warm shelters between rock crevices or in natural tunnels, where the temperature remains more stable than in the freezing exterior. Generally, it maintains a solitary life, or remains near a few individuals. It always prioritizes discretion and evasion as a form of defense. When the wintry and frigid night covers the mountain, the pika curls up in its rudimentary shelter, but as soon as the first light of sun appears, it immediately begins its tireless search for food. Because it does not hibernate, this small creature cannot fall into a deep sleep to save energy. It needs food all year round. Therefore, when the brief summer days arrive and the temperature can reach 20 degrees Celsius, the clever pika uses every valuable second to collect dry grass and create small hay piles. This will allow it to withstand the snow season. The presence of the pika proves that, on Everest, strength does not always depend on size. It also depends on intelligence, foresight, and a survival instinct that is impossible to break. While the pika hides among small rock crevices to escape the freezing wind and predators, on the higher slopes, another creature moves with an imposing dignity. It is the Himalayan ibex, one of the great symbols of balance, strength, and survival in terrain that seems not to have been created for life. On the near vertical cliffs of the Himalayan region, where a single misstep can mean death, the ibex moves with astonishing precision. Its hard hooves, with sharp edges and soft pads underneath, allow it to cling to ice-covered rock. It does not run on flat ground like many other mammals. It climbs, jumps, twists its body, and stands firm on ledges so narrow they seem to offer space for barely a single paw. In the frozen landscape of Everest, the image of an adult ibex walking slowly across a snowy slope seems like a scene nature had reserved for itself. Its dense coat protects it from the biting wind, while its robust body allows it to overcome near vertical inclines. Every step is calculated. Each jump is a combination of instinct and experience accumulated in the struggle to survive. The male stands out for its large, curved horns, which extend backward as a mark of age and power. During the mating season, those horns become weapons in intense combats. Against the white background of the snow, two males may charge at each other and collide with the full force of their bodies. The dry sound of horns striking one another resonates among the rocks, breaking the silence of the frozen plateau. But most of the time, the Himalayan ibex does not seek battle. It seeks dry grass, moss, lichens, and the scarce remains of vegetation that still survive between stone and snow. At these extreme heights, food is never abundant. Every patch of grass peeking out under the ice has value. Each slope with less snow can decide whether or not the entire herd survives the winter. And behind that apparent calm, danger is always present. The snow leopard, the ghost of the Himalayas, may be watching from a distant ledge. For the ibex, the cliff is at once a refuge and a battlefield. When pursued, it launches toward the steepest slopes, choosing routes the predator can hardly follow. In this world, speed matters less than balance. Life belongs to the one who knows how to place each paw in the exact spot. The Himalayan ibex is not a noisy animal. It needs no roars or bright colors to affirm its presence. Its existence is written in fine footprints on the snow, in jumps over deep abysses, and in its silent silhouette against the rocks, facing the freezing wind. In the snowy mountains surrounding Everest, where nature forgives no error, the Himalayan ibex proves that life does not only exist in easy places. Sometimes it chooses the most dangerous cliffs, the coldest mountains, and turns the very harshness of the world into its strength. In rocky areas of extreme climate, several thousand meters below the summits, a silent creature moves through dense vegetation. It is the red panda, one of the most unique and fascinating animals still surviving in the Everest ecosystem. With its thick reddish-brown fur, rounded head, and white patches around the eyes, the red panda has an unmistakable appearance. Its long, bushy tail is marked by reddish and brown rings. Although its name recalls the giant panda, it has little in common with that black and white giant. It is a small mammal that normally does not exceed 6 kilograms. It lives discreetly in cold forests, where moss, lichens, and damp trunks form a natural camouflage. Its dense coat allows it to conserve heat when the temperature drops. Its long tail not only helps it maintain balance while moving along branches, it can also wrap around its body like a natural scarf during rest hours in the cold. Thanks to its short, strong legs, sharp claws, and great climbing ability, the red panda seems born to live among the trees. There, it avoids many of the ground's dangers and can hide within the forest canopy. But its small size forces it to remain always alert. The snow leopard, the clouded leopard, and the golden eagle may see the red panda as vulnerable prey. Thus, its most important weapon is not strength, but the ability to disappear. In the damp mountain forests covered in moss and lichens, its color blends surprisingly well with the trunks. When it curls up motionless on a branch, it can vanish before the eyes of a predator. If cornered, the red panda can still defend itself. It stands on its hind legs and straightens its body to appear larger, attempting to intimidate the enemy with its last surge of bravery. It is not the strength of a fierce beast, but the survival instinct of a small creature in an implacable world. Although it belongs to the order Carnivora, it feeds primarily on plants. The bamboo constitutes the majority of its diet, though it is a food difficult to digest and not very rich in energy. To compensate, it can spend up to 13 hours a day searching for food. It may consume around 4 kilograms of bamboo to meet its nutritional needs. When other resources appear, it does not miss the chance to eat fruits, berries, eggs, or insects. This flexibility is precisely what allows the red panda to survive in a place where food changes with the seasons. Its sensitive nose helps it find tender shoots hidden in the lower levels of the forest. Its false thumb allows it to grip bamboo branches and pick out the softest parts. Every slow movement is not a sign of laziness, but a way to save energy in an environment that allows no waste. When not foraging, the red panda usually curls up on branches, using its tail to conserve heat. It can sleep for many hours a day and grooms its fur to remove parasites. It marks its home range with scents from anal glands, urine and droppings. In the world of Everest, it represents another form of life's beauty, small, discreet, yet resilient. Among the temperate broadleaf and coniferous forests of lower altitude surrounding Everest, a powerful black beast appears amidst the dense vegetation. It is the Himalayan black bear, a robust omnivore. It can weigh up to 200 kilograms and live at altitudes around 4,000 meters. There, the cold, steep slopes and prolonged winters test every creature. Its black fur, thick as wool, helps it conserve heat in an environment where temperatures often drop below 0 degrees Celsius. On its chest, a creamy white V-shaped mark makes it unmistakable. Its large, rounded ears, light-toned snout, and massive body give it a powerful presence in the cold forests, except during the breeding season. The Himalayan black bear is usually solitary. It moves silently under the forest canopy, but it is also a surprising climber, with claws that can reach 5 centimeters in length and muscular legs. It can climb trees to rest. Those same claws allow it to dig the soil, lift stones, and tear bark. It explores every corner of the forest for roots, tubers, insects, and hidden nutrients. As a typical omnivore, the black bear is not too selective. Fruits, berries, honey, rodents, and small birds can become part of its daily diet. Its sharp sense of smell allows it to detect very faint scents in the forest. By climbing trees, it can find fruits, seeds, or beehives, regardless of bees defending their honey. During the warm months, when food is most abundant, the black bear takes every opportunity to eat. It can consume up to 15 kilograms of food a day. It accumulates energy for the harsh stage ahead, because when winter comes, the forests surrounding Everest cease to be an easy place to live. Instead of wandering under a cold that cuts the skin, the black bear chooses another survival strategy: hibernation. Before the cold sets in, it spends almost all its time accumulating fat. That layer of fat acts as an energy reserve to stay alive without eating for weeks. It also makes a healthy adult a very difficult prey to attack. When winter approaches, the bear begins to prepare its shelter. It may dig its own den or take advantage of rock crevices and tree hollows. Inside, it adds dry leaves and small branches to create a warm bed. Sometimes it even narrows the entrance with snow or mud to prevent the freezing wind from penetrating. Once settled in the den, its metabolism slows down and its body conserves every fragment of energy. The enormous animal slowly sinks into a deep sleep. For the Himalayan black bear, hibernation is not an escape from winter. It is a survival strategy perfected over thousands of generations. While the Himalayan black bear seeks shelter to enter its long winter sleep, on the border between the dense forests and the rocky, frozen slopes, a strange ungulate continues to search silently for the last traces of food. It is the Himalayan musk deer, one of the most mysterious and unusual creatures still surviving in the Everest ecosystem. weighing only 10 to 18 kilograms. The musk deer is not a large animal, but it is a true master of adaptation. Among steep slopes and prolonged winters, it survives thanks to caution, endurance, and a nearly silent way of moving. Unlike true deer, it belongs to the family Moschidae and possesses no antlers. Its coarse brown fur allows it to camouflage perfectly between grey rock and cold patches of damp moss. Its hind legs, long and strong, give its body a slightly hunched silhouette, but precisely this structure allows it to jump over crevices and move nimbly across steep slopes. Its strangest feature is that, instead of antlers, the male possesses two long tusks that protrude from the upper jaw and can reach up to 10 centimeters. These tusks function as weapons for display, intimidation, and fighting when the right to reproduce is disputed. Most of the time, the musk deer lives alone and discreetly, avoiding both its peers and large predators. But when winter arrives, that prudence gives way to tension and competition for reproduction. A male's territory usually overlaps with areas occupied by several females. To defend its borders against rivals, males raise their bodies, advance slowly, and emit whistles or deep warning moans. If neither backs down, combat begins with lunges and attacks launched with their sharp tusks. During the breeding season, the same territory may be contested many times, forcing the resident male to fight again and again to maintain control. When females go into heat, they choose a male based on his strength and the quality of his territory. After mating, the female leaves while the male remains, waiting for a new opportunity. About 6 months later, a tiny offspring is born in the middle of this implacable world. By then, the male must regain strength searching for the few foods available, such as mosses and lichens. The female's life is even more demanding, as she must raise her little one and teach it to hide from snow leopards and Himalayan wolves lurking in the dark. The Himalayan musk deer is the embodiment of silent survival, small but resilient among the frozen mountains, where each breeding season represents a victory against the extreme nature that the Creator has imposed. Among the dense layers of vegetation in the high mountain forests, a fleeting shadow appears. It is the red fox, a small carnivore endowed with a cunning and opportunistic intelligence. With a maximum weight of barely 14 kilograms, it cannot threaten an adult musk deer. But calves are another story. For these stealthy hunters, fawns represent a tempting prey. Although its orange and reddish fur seems too eye-catching, the Creator actually granted it a surprising ability for camouflage. It allows it to blend with the tones of the mountain forest before launching unexpected attacks. Although it possesses the skills of an expert carnivore, the red fox is, in reality, an opportunistic omnivore. It rejects almost nothing: juicy insects, fruits, berries, roots, or tender shoots. When food is scarce, it can also become a scavenger and take advantage of the remains of large carcasses abandoned deep in the forest. Thanks to its extremely sensitive hearing and smell, the red fox can locate everything from hares to the smallest rodents hidden underground. It is a true specialist in hunting mice. It stalks with absolute patience, using the terrain as cover to maintain the element of surprise. When the target enters its attack range, it executes a characteristic technique known as the mousing pounce. It springs into the air and lands with its front paws directly on the prey with extraordinary precision. Even if the victim is hidden among dense grass or under a layer of snow, not even the sturdiest underground burrows are a completely safe refuge. The slightest sound is enough for the red fox to dig in a matter of seconds and catch small rodents hidden under the soil. Against fast prey like hares, it takes advantage of its explosive acceleration over short distances to end the chase with a lethal bite. Thus, it proves that in the implacable world of Everest, cunning can be the supreme weapon of survival. But not everything in the red fox's life consists of hunting and sowing fear among dozens of wild species. With a full belly, this intelligent canid can relax a bit and spend much of the day resting in a comfortable burrow or among dense thickets. Just like the snow leopard, it also uses its thick tail as a natural scarf. It curls up in it during its moments of rest to conserve a few more degrees of body heat. And speaking of the fierce mountain ghost, it is worth setting aside for a moment all the damage the red fox can cause to small mammals and rodents. Because, being an intermediate predator, it must sometimes see how the food chain turns against it. It is then when relentless hunters like the snow leopard, the black bear, the Himalayan wolf, and even some birds of prey appear. Of course, for these carnivores to put their claws and jaws on the fox, they must first find it. Its extremely stealthy behavior is one of its main survival strategies to avoid becoming a target of the great dominators of Everest. By moving with enormous caution through the vegetation, the fox can pass completely unnoticed. If, in an unexpected situation, it is discovered by a larger predator, this wild canid does not usually try to show bravery in a fight. Instead, when directly threatened, it resorts to its enviable agility and takes flight quickly through the forest. It can reach up to 50 kilometers per hour to escape the clutches of its pursuers. Often, the final destination of these lightning retreats is a safe and comfortable burrow, where it can shelter from both the harshness of the weather and the threat of its enemies. When the red fox has already retired inside its warm burrow, the sky over Everest is still far from calm. Over the vertical cliffs, where the freezing wind relentlessly whips the ridges. An enormous winged silhouette traces silent and majestic circles. It is the bearded vulture, one of the strangest and most imposing inhabitants of the Himalayas. With a wingspan that can exceed 3 meters, the bearded vulture is a true giant of the Cloud Kingdom. It dominates desolate cliffs and cold, dry slopes, places where most birds would hesitate to stay. At thousands of meters of altitude, among rocks, snow, and gales, this creature glides with astonishing lightness. Its appearance possesses a mysterious and unmistakable air. The wings and back feature dark grey and black tones, which contrast with the lower part of the body, dyed with an intense reddish-orange colour. The most curious thing is that this colour is not completely natural. The bird has the strange habit of rubbing itself against soil and rocks rich in iron oxides to dye its plumage. On its face, a black stripe descends from the eyes to below the beak like a mask. It ends in a tuft of stiff feathers resembling a beard, the origin of its imposing name. But what truly separates the bearded vulture from the rest of the world is its extraordinary diet. In the system the Creator established to recycle life, the bearded vulture occupies the role of the ultimate gatherer. Unlike other vultures that prefer soft carrion, this creature is almost specialized in eating bones. From the heights, its sharp eyes scour the valleys for remains of hunts. When it discovers a dry skeleton, it descends, grabs a bone with its powerful beak and firm claws, and rises again. At a suitable height, it drops the bone onto sharp rocks on the ground. The impact breaks it into fragments, and the bird immediately lands to devour its trophy. Within the body of this giant exists a perfectly adapted digestive system. Its stomach, with extreme acidity, can break down even the hardest bones and release the nutrient-rich marrow inside. For the bearded vulture, that which other animals abandon becomes the most valuable feast. By consuming bones, tendons, and small skin remains, it fulfills an essential function in the ecosystem. It cleans the traces of death and restores purity to this mountain land. After feeding, the bearded vulture returns to a high ledge to tend to its plumage and remove any traces of dirt. It maintains its flight capability in perfect condition. In the realm of rock, ice, and fading bodies, the bearded vulture does not represent cruelty. It is the silent cleaner of the Himalayas. It is a powerful proof that in the cycle of nature, even death retains a value that is never wasted. Before the first steps of climbers reached the summit of Everest, the Sherpas were already there. Before expeditions dreamed of conquering the roof of the world, they already knew every breath of the wind and every relentless turn of this immense land of ice. For the world, Everest is a challenge to be overcome. For the Sherpas, the mountain is home, sustenance, and an inseparable part of their own breath. They are the silent guardians of the Himalayas. After centuries of life among deep valleys and dizzying slopes, the bodies of these people seem to have been molded by the Creator to adapt to the most extreme conditions. In a place where every breath is a battle, the blood of the Sherpas possesses a remarkable capacity to transport oxygen. Their lungs have learned to take advantage of every molecule available in the thin air. While many Western climbers need weeks to acclimate to the altitude, the Sherpas advance with an almost natural lightness. They move along routes where fear lurks beneath every step. But their role is not built only on extraordinary physical endurance. It is also a spiritual heritage, a tradition woven with courage, dedication, and sacrifice. They are the silent architects of the route. They prepare the paths, fix the ropes that sustain lives, and carry loads across abysses. For them, Everest, or Chomolungma, the Holy Mother of the universe, is not simply a gigantic mass of rock. It is a sacred spirit. Each expedition must begin with a puja ceremony, performed to ask permission from the mountain deities. Amidst the ritual chants echoing in the cold air and the 5-colored prayer flags, the Sherpas advance with humility. Although danger is always near, they return again and again. Guiding others toward the summit is not only a way to provide for their families, but also a way for them to live in harmony with the mountain and honor the greatness of this sacred place. In the midst of the most violent snowstorms, the yak directly resists all the harshness of the eternal Himalayan winter. The pikas, tiny survivors, take refuge underground to escape the brutality of the climate. They endure the attack of low temperatures with relative stability. Meanwhile, the red panda curls up in its thick tail to avoid hypothermia during freezing nights. Each wild species does what it must not to die in this white world, where altitude constantly threatens life. The black bear, a powerful beast, scavenges through withered vegetation for food. A few insects or some fresh berries can already become a banquet in this austere landscape. The Himalayan tahr grazes on vertical cliffs thousands of meters up. In places where only he can reach the freshest pastures, the musk deer patiently gnaws the last fragment of moss. It is an extraordinary effort not to fall defeated by hunger. But dying from the extreme weather and the shortage of food is not the only challenge wild inhabitants face. When predators lurk, frozen conditions become a secondary threat compared to the risk of falling into the fangs of the tyrants of the food chain. Hidden among slopes frozen by time, the mountain ghost, a cold and calculating cat, fixes its gaze on its next victim. When the snow leopard stalks, the prey has almost no escape. A jump, a swipe, and it's all over. Also in this extreme terrain, where even the smallest form of life seems like a miracle. Wolf packs dominate the food chain with ferocity. A deep howl echoes among the mountains, and the whole pack stands ready to unleash terror. At thousands of meters of altitude, the bearded vulture closely watches the horizon for fresh carrion. In a matter of seconds, this clever vulture lifts the remains of its victims and drops them from a dizzying height against the rocks. This is wildlife on Everest. Harsh, fragile, refined, and at the same time, profoundly fascinating. Although they live at thousands of meters of altitude and seem proud of having no natural predators, the greatest threat to the survival of these vultures is human influence on their isolated ecosystems. The use of poisoned bait by some local ranchers is causing severe damage to bearded vulture populations. These birds may accidentally fall into that trap and become victims of a slow and painful death. The use of body parts of this bird of prey in certain local cultures also contributes to the decline of their populations. The red panda is another wild inhabitant of the Everest slopes that is seriously threatened. Habitat loss caused by increased deforestation is gradually deteriorating the forests of the lower zones of this mountain ecosystem. Although large-scale deforestation is not permitted in the Everest region, the growth of tourism increases the demand for new infrastructure and resources like firewood. Not even the powerful snow leopard escapes the effects of human activity in its extreme environment. This magnificent cat is currently classified as a vulnerable species and faces grave threats. Among them stands out the increase in poaching. With the goal of selling its skin and bones on the black market, poachers stalk this cat and end its life in an act of true brutality. For the giant wild yak, the story is not much different. The threat of hybridization with domestic yaks, along with illegal hunting and competition for pastures with livestock, turns its survival into an enormous challenge. Even the wolf packs, seemingly untamable, are not free from danger. As a consequence of poaching and frequent conflicts with ranchers, these canids today face an uncertain future. Their declining population is estimated at no more than 400 individuals, placing them in a critical threat situation. Behind every celebrated conquest, there are stories that end in the silent white of the mountain. Here, altitude grants no mercy, the deadly cold gives no warning, and every step can be the last. Above 8,000 meters, the death zone waits. There, the human body fights a battle against its own destiny. Oxygen becomes a luxury and consciousness slowly fades. Lungs fight in vain, muscles weaken, and the brain, deprived of air, falls into a dark and dangerous zone. Many sit down just to rest for a moment and never get up again. When tragedy strikes, there is rarely a way back. Recovering a body at that altitude is almost impossible. The weight of death is too great for those still struggling to survive, and so many remain there, alone, becoming part of the mountain's landscape. Sometimes the mountain does not wait for human weakness. She herself decides who stays. The snow may seem silent and serene, but it hides a contained fury. Pressure builds up within glaciers, waiting for a signal, a crack, a false step, or just a whisper of the wind. Then, suddenly, everything collapses. When an avalanche is unleashed, there is no warning. In a matter of seconds, huge walls of snow break off the mountain and descend at speeds near 320 kilometers per hour. Everything in their path vanishes. Nothing can resist. Not even the most experienced have a chance when nature demands its price. But not everything is lost. Currently, there are conservation programs focused on protecting these canids, with efforts directed toward captive breeding and reinforcing their legal protection. Although the challenges remain enormous, this is an important first step on the long road to saving these majestic creatures from the brink of extinction. From giant yaks to the solitary snow leopard and the tiny pikas, Everest's wildlife faces countless challenges caused by our intrusion today. Therefore, the responsibility to promote protection measures for this invaluable wildlife of the roof of the world rests entirely upon us. Have the stories of the wild creatures of Mount Everest impressed you? Then leave us a like and don't forget to comment on which species was your favorite. Remember that, so you don't miss our next content. You can subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. And if you want your friends to also discover the natural wonders hidden in the highest mountain on the planet and its slopes, share this video on your social networks. Without further ado, we'll see you in the next episode with new stories about frozen winters, stealthy felines, and, of course, the wildlife.